Hello, my name is Jordan Zane,
And my name is Garrick.
and we are here reporting to you live about a pressing issue that everyone today in society has been facing.
Past year has been a difficult one because due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the federal government released a mandate that required people to wear masks in any public setting. There are some that don't really have a problem with this and feel that it's okay, and others who don't want to wear a mask or just don't want to be forced to wear a mask. They want it to be their own decision.
And the central parties that we have been dealing with throughout this conflict are the people who are pro-mask and the people that are anti-mask. People who are pro-mask believe that the mask contains the spread of COVID-19 and is in the best interest for themselves and the public to wear a mask. However, on the other side, anti-maskers feel that masks are not functional and the government is overstepping their boundaries by requiring people to wear masks in public.
So this type of conflict, we see two different types of conflict here. We see interpersonal conflict and intergroup conflict. The interpersonal conflict goes between two or more people, and that's some sort of argument involving those people or more people. While intergroup conflict comes when two groups are against each other. So in this case, it would be pro-mask and anti-mask, and those groups engage in the conflict.
And here we have a quote from Dr. Anthony Fauci. Dr. Fauci has been one of the leading doctors during this pandemic. And while this is, yes, a simple quote, wear a mask, it really does pack a lot of punch. And it shows that if Dr. Fauci is saying that you need to wear a mask, you should listen to him since he is one of the highly regarded professionals during the pandemic.
So in terms of the conflict wheel, we see three specifically that are important to this conflict. The first one is emotion. Obviously, emotions are heightened when individuals feel that their opinions are being threatened. So in some cases, that causes people to lash out. Two is structure. So a new structure has been put in place with the last year in COVID-19, and those should be followed in order to help protect society. But some people also believe that that's not the case. And third, we have values. Individuals have their own personal values, and those values have been challenged in some ways due to COVID-19, with some more than others.
And the types of stress that people may face during the pandemic, and especially about the masks versus the no masks, is distress. And distress is important because it heightens that you lose control over a situation, and that's where the stress comes from. And with COVID-19, individuals do not have control over what's going to happen since it is a very unclear virus. You can't really contain it. You can't really control it. All you can do is follow the CDC guidelines that have been placed into society. And also hyperstress. Hyperstress occurs when too many tasks pile up on us and we are unable to adapt to the changes or cope with what is all happening at once. Since COVID-19 hit us all really hard a year ago, people had to really change and make adaptations to how they live their life, and that could have created hyperstress in many different people.
So we're going to be interviewing two people during this segment, and one of them is going to be Samira Midias. She is currently a research assistant at the FDA, and she works with food safety and applied nutrition. And then the other one is Brooks Warren, who used to work at the FDA doing the exact same thing as Samira.
And here is our first interview with Samira.
I'm 20 years old.
And how has the COVID-19 pandemic affected your life?
The COVID-19 pandemic has affected my life in many ways. Obviously, besides just everyday life has changed. In terms of work, our lab is primarily remote now. We used to be able to just go into the lab, collaborate, work with each other. However, because of social distancing guidelines, we're not in the lab as much. It's a lot more remote work.
And with that, what is your opinion on the mask mandate?
I think the mask mandate is very important. I think that it is proven scientifically to reduce the spread and transmission of COVID-19 as well as other viruses. And I think it's very important that we keep it in place as long as we see possible, just to ensure that those at risk for contracting the virus are able to be protected.
And with that, do you feel that the federal government should be able to mandate masks, or should it be left up to the state, or furthermore, the individual?
I think that the mask mandate should be handled on a federal level. I think the problem that we're seeing right now with it being handled on the state level is that states that are bordering each other with different restrictions are seeing transmission rates between borders that it's not really effective. So I think that if everybody was kind of on the same page, we'd be able to handle this pandemic much more efficiently.
All right. Thank you so much, Samira, for taking your time out of your day to come and speak with me.
And on this next one, we have Brooks's interview coming up.
All right, I'm here with former FDA worker Brooks. Brooks, can you give us your full name and your age, please?
Brooks Robert Warren, and just recently turned 21.
All right, so as a student, how has COVID affected your life?
Online school isn't it's way different than school in person, but I wouldn't say it affected it too much. I can still manage the school.
All right. Inside of COVID-19, what's your opinion on mask wearing? Do you think it's necessary, not necessary?
I think it's very necessary, and I was only an FDA intern, so I don't know that much about anything. So I'm just gonna listen to the experts, and the experts are saying that masks are.
Yeah, so you feel the federal government is in good standing to
Yes.
make a mask mandate? You trust the federal officials?
Yes.
Do you think that it's become a polarizing issue, like it's become more of a government issue than an actual safety issue?
Yeah, I think it has become shifted more towards politics than actual like health.
Which again, you just feel is just definitely
I think
negative.
it's yeah.
Yeah. So during your time at the FDA, I know you were an intern, but did you guys were masks ever implicated just in any type of dangerous situations? I mean, were you working with types of chemicals or something like that that could be dangerous?
Yeah. So we would wear masks if there was something like a danger of inhaling a dangerous chemical, and or we work under a hood, which would fan all the chemicals up. So like there's masks work, like they
From a medical standpoint,
yeah, they work.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it, and thank you guys for listening.
Thank you.
God.
And here you can see that our new president, Joe Biden, just recently announced that fully vaccinated people can go outdoors without wearing a mask. While this may seem like a really small step, and it may seem like, oh, I already do that. I don't really wear a mask when I'm outside. I only wear it when I'm in public places. This just goes to show that the government is trying to take steps to reward the people who are doing the right thing. And this really has showed us how we can change through a year ago to now.
So one of the based on the Freakonomics podcast, one of the reasons that these parties have so much trouble changing their minds is because the conflict has now turned into a political conflict. The two sides are often assumed to be one political viewpoint, and these political beliefs run deeper than just a mask versus an anti-mask. And like we said before, when these people have their personal values and they feel their personal values are being threatened, they're going to lash out and there's going to be conflict involved.
And here we just have our recommendations, and by our presentation and our discussion, you could obviously tell that we want everyone to be able to wear a mask because it has been proven that masks keep us safe. And thank you so much for coming and listening to us. We really appreciate it.